run into people that you don't know that remind you of someone that you knew like home, you'll kind of click on to him. I think he clicked on me is what I clicked on him, though. Maybe. Make sure we get this right. You know what I'm saying? And then I married his cousin, which didn't have the celebration in it. But tell me we fell in it. Because we did love each other. All right.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Jesus.
Awesome.
You know, when I think of Chuck, I'm reminded of agape love.
Yes.
Because Chuck walked in love and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I've known him,
Mm-hmm.
he led by example. He really did. And I think until now we kind of missed it. Because as soon as they told me that, I said, Lord, I thank you for his life.
Mm-hmm.
Because he walked in love and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Hey sis, how's Mama May? How's Lou? How's Byron? He called everybody out. He knew us all. He loved his community, but more important, he loved the people, honey. And as Christian people, as people, period, we need to love one another.
Amen.
And it was genuine. You can't say it wasn't. We all have our flaws, we all have our miscomings and all that. But all that aside, it's your day-to-day walk. And that brother walked in love.
He did.
walked
And he
in
did do
love,
that. That's true.
Unconditional love.
Mhm.
When you see Chuck, hey, how you doing? If you had a conversation with him, not Chuck, hey, how you doing? How's everybody? And keep it moving.
Mhm.
You know. And I thank God for that. I thank God for that example. And as his life left us that example, we can follow that. Put everything else aside. You know, and begin to walk in love and kindness, because that's what we're supposed to love one another, continue to lift one another up, you know, put everything else aside and just walk in the gospel of that. Not if I love you if.
Right.
There's no if.
Mm-hmm.
Don't live in the what if, live in the now. You know, this is now faith, but that faith that he had, you know, for everybody, for his community, for everybody in the community. And I thank God for that. I thank God for his life, rest in peace. He's at peace. He has the peace, you know. And he had the love of Christ. That's all I can say. That brother walked in love.
Amen. Amen. Yes.
I was saying baby Todd. Baby Todd. That's how you call it, baby Todd.
Baby Todd, yeah.
Some people always tell me, no matter where we went or what we did, we always tell the truth. His first cousin, Miss Sheila, and my wife, even me, he always said, Mac, you know something? He'll call my name. He said, those two women need to go. He'll make sure I'm going to
That was because we did not agree with what he said.
He'll make sure I'm sure who he means. He'll say, my cousin, Sheila. Oh, yeah. And I get in the car, and say, and your wife, I'm sure that. Even Mitchell. They need God. I say, you're right, Jim.
You know, I'm up there and sit on my porch and I go out there and he'd be sitting out there and then I'd feed him or whatever. And we was raised, so we was raised up and not only cousins, we was always together. So we was all like sisters, brothers, you know. And yeah, I'd get on them sometimes. When I'd get on them, he fuss at me. Oh, we'd be out there just arguing. And then I'd say, let's go on somewhere. And then he'd come back, or you'll see me somewhere at church where he said, I love you, Shelley. I love you too. I love you too. But I'm going to get on with you. And I'm going to miss him.
I remember Chuck growing up. Well, we was on Sullivan Street, but when the Cartwrights lived in Dale Street Alley, my daddy would get Chuck and Gary. They was the first black kids on Dale Street to have a paper route and everything. He'd get them up, make sure they do it, feed them breakfast, and put them in a truck, and they'd go, deliver papers. And he would take Sheila's granddaddy to get his haircut every Saturday, make sure that he had everything he needed. And Chuck was just a good person. I mean, growing up on Friday, Saturday, he'd come by, have some deal street. Mr. Johnny, what you cook, what you cook, what you got, and all that, because he would always cook, invite everybody in. And Chuck was just Chuck. He was family to us, and everybody asked how you kin to Chuck. I'm kin to Chuck. On my daddy's side with the Cartwrights and everything, you know. So I love Chuck. I'm going to miss him. And that day when he approached me, that was a sad day for me and everything, you know, to go tell Sheila, you know, what was going on and everything. And then Friday was a sad day to me again. And then Saturday was it just, but like I said, I love Chuck. I miss him. And it was always Chuck. Good people. Love you, Chuck. Miss you.
Beautiful. Here comes
Chuck
a
was
gentleman.
just Chuck, and I love him for who he was. And he refereed all my kids and grandkids.
Amen. Anybody else have something to say?
Chuck was just a loving person, and he always cared about our family. When I see him, he asked for all my boys, my husband, and everybody in my family. It seemed like he knew everybody. He asked for my daughter, and I just thought he had forgot her. And he would ask for her and how she's doing. He would never let you rest before he finished what he had to say.
Yeah.
But he was just so loving, and I would see him at church. He'd come and hug me and say, I love you. And that was just his way. He wasn't a person that was cruel in any way.
No.
And that's why I couldn't understand how somebody could do something like that. You know, because he never harmed us so. And everybody loved him in Green Garden. Everybody loved him up in DB. And I can remember the times when we caught the bus going to different games and stuff. And Chuck be on the bus and he'd be talking to Devon. And he would tell Devon different little moves that he did and what we be right and what we be wrong. And he did the same thing with both Eddie and Jimmy. And they just adored him because he was real. He was not phony no way, shape, or form. And he'd come out here whenever we had these big dinners when Sarge was cooking out in the field. He'd come out there and help, and he'd do anything you asked him, anything. And he always was a loving person. He's going to be missed by a lot of people.
Yes, yes.
He did a lot of refereeing, and he got to know all the kids from different places. You know, you go to the different schools, and they go to the way schools and stuff, and people would give Chuck a ride just so he could be there. He didn't have to referee, and he would be there. And like when I saw him, I said, well, do you have money to get something to eat? I'd feed him. And he said, well, you don't have to do that. And I said, look, are you going to get something to eat or what? And he would get it and eat and tell me he loved me and thank me. But he was just a wonderful person. And he knew what he was talking about when he come to the refereeing. And him and Matt would be out there refereeing those games in Green Garden. And they just be having the time of their life. The kids just love him and everything. And he's going to be missed.
Yes, definitely.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of things that's going on now is not like when he was coming up and refereeing. He taught a lot of these kids how to play football, how to do everything. And he was just there for all the children. He's going to be missed by a lot of people.
Amen. Beautiful.
Absolutely.